Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still struggling at this major resistance, we're now seeing the RSI cool off in the short term, giving us more room towards the upside for a possible breakout, as we're still seeing a lot of liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin, like what we saw just a few days ago. So due to these reasons, I'm still currently long on the price of Bitcoin, which I'll talk about in just a moment, sharing my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, along with the fact that Ethereum is still struggling at this major area of resistance, while the price of Solana has now officially confirmed a breakout above this key Fibonacci level. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have this major bearish divergence to watch out for, not yet technically invalidated, but on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, as I've already been saying for over a week now on the channel, for almost 1.5 to 2 weeks, of course, we're now moving towards a bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And so this is a sign that we're starting to regain a bit of bullish momentum, at least in the short term, and that we're likely going to see a little bit more of a recovery or bullish relief for the price of Bitcoin in the coming days or possibly weeks here. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, we're now getting closer towards this major level of resistance here at approximately 117,000. And like I've said many times here on the channel, if we break out above 117,000 with confirmation, so candle closes above that level and holding above that level, in that situation, the next major point of resistance, the next major target would be at around 120,000. And if the price of Bitcoin ultimately breaks out above 120,000, in that situation, of course, I'll be targeting basically the all-time high at close to 124,000. But for now, once again, the immediate level is 117,000 as resistance. And as for support, in case we see any little pullback here or a further rejection from this resistance, in that situation, expect a lot of support at around 113,000 to 113.5k based on previous major short-term resistance here, flipping into new support. But if we're looking at the shorter term, looking at just the 4-hour time frame here, it's clear that despite the fact that we're still struggling around this major resistance as expected, of course, we're still within a short-term bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs, which is basically the definition of a bullish trend. And so overall, once again, the trend and momentum, especially here in the shorter term, still pointing more in the bullish direction, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel, especially since around this point right here when we started confirming higher lows and higher highs again in the price of Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. And so ever since then, once again, overall, we're still more bullish than bearish just in the short term here. But obviously the price is not going to move in a straight line. We're going to see slight little pullbacks and cool offs and things like that along the way. And the logical points on the price chart where we're likely going to see pullbacks and things like this is, of course, around points of resistance, like for example 117,000, give or take. Obviously for days now, since all the way back down here at around 112k, 113k, I've been targeting around 116.5k to 117,000 as the area of resistance, the next major target since around 113,000. And obviously that played out exactly as predicted, and now we're starting to struggle in that area. But in my opinion, it's very likely we could ultimately come back up for a retest very soon of this area due to a couple of different reasons. And of course, the first reason is the simple fact that we're still in a bullish trend in the short term, still playing out overall more bullish momentum than we have bearish momentum. So due to that reason alone, it's quite likely we could see another retest of this resistance quite soon. Also, due to the fact that we did not see a harsh rejection from that resistance, and we're just struggling a little bit, it is quite likely, considering we're not really seeing a lot of bearish momentum, it's quite likely we're going to basically retest that level sometime soon. And of course, one of the reasons as to why we saw this slight little pullback here, on top of the fact that we were running into major resistance on the price chart, is also due to the fact that the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI hit overbought, as we could see just around 1 to 2 days ago. And so this is a sign just in the short term that we need to see a slight little cool off, just a bit of a break from all of the bullish price action to reset the RSI out of overbought back down towards more neutral levels, which can give us more room towards the upside to ultimately continue the bullish trend. And so obviously this has been playing out over the last 1 to 2 days. We're simply resetting from the overbought territories in the RSI, cooling off a little bit, potentially getting ready for that next leg towards the upside, or at least another retest of this resistance. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can currently see a lot of liquidity now building just above the price of Bitcoin at around 116.7k to 117,000. And so once again, right around this resistance here, approaching 117,000, we now have a lot of liquidity building right there. And as I've been saying many times here on the channel, usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where we have a lot of liquidity, especially if that liquidity is relatively close to the price. And so that's exactly what we saw just a few days ago. As we can see, around half a week ago, give or take, we obviously were right around here at give or take 113,000. We had a lot of liquidity building just above the price. And so like I said back then on the channel, I predicted we're about to see another short-term bullish move above 115, above 116k to take out this liquidity. And obviously that perfectly played out as predicted. And now I'm basically saying the same thing. It's very likely, once again, no such thing as a 100% guarantee, but very likely that sometime very soon, maybe over the next 1 or 2 days, it's quite likely we could retest this resistance in between 116.5k to 117,000. And of course, there's still that possibility we could see another short-term rejection or a little bit more of a struggle around this resistance. But ultimately, as I said earlier in the video, if we break out above this resistance with confirmation, so candle closes, for example, above 117,000 and holding that ideally as new support, in that situation, like I said earlier, the next major target is at roughly 120,000. And then above that, I'll be targeting all-time highs. And so with all of that in mind, of course, I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, as I shared over the last couple of days, I did slightly reduce the size of this long position over on my BTNX account. So first of all, a couple of days ago, a few days ago, it was originally a $250,000 Bitcoin long position, and currently it's still around a $100,000 Bitcoin long position. So over the last 1 day, I've made no new changes to this trade right here. And so like I just said, I did previously take a small amount of profits right around this resistance just here, due to the fact that I said back then, before we ran into that level, I said it's quite likely we're going to see a slight little rejection like this, struggle a little bit before maybe seeing a breakout later on. So now that's perfectly playing out. Obviously, it was right to at least reduce some of the trade right here, but still overall remain long is still my trading strategy. And so this long position over on my BTNX account is still roughly 2,500 USD in unrealized profits and about 4,500 USD in realized secured profits. And over on my 2bit account, I have this $100,000 Bitcoin long position, which I've basically not touched over the last few days, still around 1,500 USD in unrealized profits. And of course, my stop loss for both this long position on my 2bit account and this long position on my BTNX account, both of these stop losses here are sitting in some slight profits. So even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashed for whatever reason, that would hit the stop loss and automatically close these trades at those levels in some slight profits. And as for other points on the price chart where I'd potentially look at taking some profits out of these long positions or reducing the size of the trade, I would potentially take a little bit more profits if we continue to struggle around this resistance here. So for example, if we come back up for another retest sometime soon, but still see further rejections, continue to struggle to actually see a breakout here, in that situation, I may slightly reduce the size of the trades again, but ultimately the next major take profit point ideally would be at roughly 120,000, but still not necessarily closing the entire trade, just reducing the size of the trade in case the price continues higher. And so that is my exact trading strategy and the key levels that I'm watching out for on the price chart to actually make any potential changes to these trades. And as always, showing very transparently here on the channel exactly how I'm planning to make a lot of easy profits from all of these Bitcoin moves. And obviously, if you want to trade just like this for yourself, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on BTNX. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, I'll take you to this page right here where you can claim massive trading and deposit bonuses, which are only available using that link. So if you want to claim some massive bonuses, basically free money from the exchange just by trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. First link link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit, which is where I have this long position open once again over on my 2bit account. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim massive bonuses. For example, up to 10,000 USD in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in withdrawable stable coins, which you can claim using the link below this video just by simply trading crypto. And on top of that, if you simply make an account using that link below this video to 2bit without making any deposits or any trades, you get a free $30 bonus, sign up bonus onto your account, and also 1 month free VIP 3 upgrade. So basically a massive discount on trading fees, very low trading fees, and free money from the exchange simply just by making an account. No KYC, no deposit, no trades required. Takes about 60 seconds to do this using that second link below this video to 2bit. And so obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you definitely may as well check this out. Second link below this video or either of the links below this video to take advantage of major bonuses on the exchanges that I personally am trading on right now. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, and right now, obviously, we're still within the larger pullback. We have not yet seen or confirmed any bullish trend reversal signal to actually reverse this current bearish trend in the Bitcoin dominance. And so obviously from time to time during this larger pullback, we can see the occasional little bounce here and there. And while we're seeing those short-term bounces, that's not great for altcoins, but overall, while we're in the larger pullback over a period of weeks, if not months, this is very good news for altcoins for as long as this bearish trend ultimately continues. And so over the last 1 day, we've not really seen much change on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So getting straight into Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now Ethereum is still bouncing around in this sideways price range between support and resistance. So first of all, this support, in case you're new to the channel, still sitting in between 3.9k to 4.1k, and this resistance is sitting in between around 4.8k to 4.9k. And so basically continue to expect the price to struggle around this resistance. So as we approach roughly 4.8k, obviously that's pretty much exactly where the price rejected from just over the last couple of days or so. But like I've been saying recently here on the channel, of course, if Bitcoin continues this bullish trend and ultimately breaks out above 117,000, and especially if while Bitcoin is doing that, if the Bitcoin dominance continues the larger pullback while the price of Bitcoin is bullish, that will be extra bullish for the altcoin market, likely resulting in an all-time high breakout at some point sometime soon for Ethereum. But once again, ideally, we need to see that further pullback continue in the Bitcoin dominance, along with Bitcoin still looking relatively strong here. So definitely keep an eye on what Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance are doing to figure out what could be likely about to happen for a lot of these major altcoins. And in case you missed my videos over the last half a week or so, of course, this bearish divergence is basically over. It's already played out very nicely here for around 1 or 2 weeks, give or take. But now we've basically seen a breakout, started to see a bit more of a reversal in the RSI here, along with obviously the price now starting to retest this major area of resistance. And so not much has really changed for Ethereum over the last 1 day. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, and over the last 1 day, we've now officially confirmed a 2-day candle close above this key Fibonacci level here, which was sitting at around $230. And so if we see a little bit further of a pullback here, expect support at roughly $230. And if the price were to break back below that area with confirmation, in that situation, expect more support at around $215 approximately. And as for resistance, the next major level to watch out for is based on these highs right here, sitting at roughly $260, really in between $260 to $265. And above that area, I'd be targeting close to $300, around $290 to $300. And remember, despite what happens in the short term, yes, we could see little pullbacks and things like that from time to time, but despite that playing out on the slightly smaller time frames, technically looking at the bigger trend here, we're still clearly within a long-term bullish trend, larger bullish price structure, technically still forming. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour Solana price chart, like I've been saying every day from the moment we broke out above this line right here at around $217 to $218, from that point onwards, I've been saying Solana looks extremely strong strong here, very bullish, expect more bullish price action, and obviously since then, that's exactly what we've seen as predicted. And so it's very normal to see slight little cool-offs and things like that along the way, but overall, especially in terms of the larger trend here, we're still looking very bullish. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, technically speaking on this chart right here, we still have a massive bearish divergence, not yet invalidated, so technically still active on the much larger time frames here. But with that being said, if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, obviously the price is now starting to retest this area right here and potentially breaking back below this area, but we still need to wait for the daily candle close. And the area I'm talking about is in between around $3.08 to $3.10, which previously was important resistance for the price. And recently we broke out above that area with a couple of candle closes here, but now once again we're retesting that area, possibly breaking back below that area, which if that happens, if we confirm this daily candle close back below $3.08, that's not really that good, at least in the short term. And so if that confirms, it's quite possible we could form a continued sideways price range. So rather than expecting a lot more bullish price action, basically just bouncing around in a bit of a range for the time being. And so obviously the bullish price structure would be looking out for would be the price actually holding above ideally $3.08, or if we break back below that area with confirmation, we need to quickly reclaim that area with a breakout back above $3.08 to $3.10. But ultimately, in more of a bearish case, if we were to see a little bit more of a pullback here, expect a lot of support at around 285 to 290 if the price were to actually get back down there. And if we're taking a look at this daily XRP price chart, technically speaking, the bullish breakout for this triangle pattern is still currently active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal, which will be a break back below this line right here to actually invalidate this bullish breakout or this bullish price target. And so obviously if we break back below roughly $2.95, especially back below $2.90, in that situation, that would completely invalidate this breakout, this pattern, and invalidate this price target. So obviously that would be the bearish case for XRP if we break back below around $2.90. But for now, while we're holding above that level, especially above $2.95 to $3, obviously this breakout still active, which means it's possible this is just a minor pullback within a larger bullish breakout. But obviously, as I've been saying this entire time, of course, it's very normal to find resistance along the way, like for example, roughly $3.10, give or take. We do have some resistance around here. And if we break out past this point, expect a lot of resistance at just above $3.30, around $3.30 to $3.40 as a major area of resistance. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, technically Chainlink is still within a longer term bullish trend, larger bullish price structure, forming higher lows and higher highs. But of course, along the way during the larger bullish trend, we can see shorter term bearish trends or pullbacks along the way towards the upside. And so right now, Chainlink is potentially just experiencing another slight little short-term pullback, cooling off a little bit after the latest bullish price action, but technically still within a much larger bullish price structure, especially like I've been saying throughout the video, especially if Bitcoin continues a breakout here while the Bitcoin dominance remains weak or remains bearish. Obviously, that can really help a lot of the altcoins. And as for support and resistance, obviously, we pretty much perfectly rejected based on the candle closes from this resistance right here at roughly 25.20. So still expect resistance at that level. And if we break out above 25.20 with candle closes above that level, in that situation, expect a lot of resistance approaching $27, really at around $26.70 to $27 as major resistance. And as for short-term support, it's possible we could find some support based on this previous resistance, flipping into new support at approximately 23.80. But below that, expect a lot of support based on this low right here and based on this Fibonacci level sitting at roughly around 22.10 to 22.40, give or take. So just above $22 as major support. And like I also mentioned recently here on the channel, there's a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern currently forming right now, but not yet confirmed. So that's just something to watch out for in case it ultimately continues to form and then ultimately confirms at some stage in the future. But overall, those are my expectations and the key levels to watch out for these crypto assets here. And of course, my trading strategy moving forward for Bitcoin. And if you once again want to take any of these trades, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links to those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how you can easily profit from the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now with these trades right here, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can easily profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.